Leonard, thanks for joining us this morning. How you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well, staying healthy, can't complain.
Yeah. We're taking care of the kids and staying indoors. And so, we're just thankful to be here and that everybody's healthy over here as well.
Well, I appreciate you taking time out of running a business and taking care of kids. I don't know which one is harder. You could tell me. And, joining us to talk about VenAssure and what you guys kind of bring to the table for fraud investigations.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is VenAssure?
So on our website, we describe VenAssure as the hub for insurance fraud investigations. And what we really mean by that is that VenAssure is a referral platform that connects clients with large and local agencies. The benefit of the platform for clients is that it gives them the ability to capitalize on the local and regional strengths of many agencies without having to access multiple forms or portals across the internet to place orders or to pick up their investigation results.
Okay. So how did this come to be?
My wife's been working in private investigations for about 17 years. And, just through conversations with her, I learned about some of the struggles that they had with just communicating with clients, getting them the results, and also, just covering the areas for all of their clients just across the country. And so through those conversations, I learned a lot about investigations, which isn't necessarily part of my background. But once I learned that the industry was starting to sort of consolidate and move to more of the national vendors and some of the local guys were getting cut out, I decided that we could do something about it, and we together built VenAssure.
So is the company that she works for, is it more of a regional company? Is it a national company?
Prior to us building VenAssure,
Yeah,
or
with the social media investigation that she was working for and doing.
okay, so prior to me starting VenAssure and her starting Groundwork Investigations, which is where she is now doing social media investigations, she worked for a local investigation agency. They covered 3 states.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it was terribly difficult for them to be in all 3 states and really cover that area effectively. And so in large part, what they did was they ended up just kind of being a vendor manager, right? They used other investigation agencies to fill the orders of their clients without necessarily exposing that information to the clients.
Mm-hmm.
And really that's a piece of what VenAssure does. It provides that transparency in letting the client know which agencies are actually working their investigations, what their skill set is through vendor scoring, what their prices are directly, so there is no additional fee for middle management or anything like that. It's just that complete, transparent, direct relationship that you would get with any other gig-based platform or something like that, for private investigations.
So how do you vet these investigation companies so you're sure that they're going to perform and the people that are handling the investigations are actually who they say they are and they're licensed in those states and everything?
Yeah, it's very challenging. So one of the things we do is we have an intake form on the website where we basically take in their company information, and we don't actually give them access to the platform until we've had a conversation with them and have obtained all the information that we request. So, for example, we're looking for a COI, a certificate of insurance. We're looking for their agency license information. We're looking for the fee schedules and sample reports and things of that nature. Once we get that licensing information, we actually verify all of that information with the state or with the licensing entity, body, however you say that. So we'll go through and do all of that credentialing on those investigation agencies to make sure that they are actual investigation agencies and that they are providing services where they say they are. We also require that they have a website. And so we look through their website to make sure that their information is legit and bring that forward through their profiles and things like that. And then from there, as far as quality goes, we do have scoring mechanisms inside of the platform. So once a agency is used, they get a score on quality, timeliness, professionalism, and communication. And those scores are presented to all clients across the platform, which helps them to get a little bit more confidence in who they're hiring for their next investigation. There's also just, your standard referrals inside of the platform. So you can read through reviews for different agencies and determine whether or not, those reviews actually warrant hiring that agency, for your assignments.
So why is it beneficial for insureds and insurance companies to utilize VenAssure?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think that, it's becoming more and more difficult for companies to really operate on a national level. I think that there are local and regional strengths to investigations, and knowing that local area really does provide value, especially when it comes to physical surveillance or, even deploying unmanned surveillance units. And I think that VenAssure gives them the ability to do that. It gives them the ability to take advantage of agencies that are both local and regional, and have that tie with the community and knowledge of that investigation area, and then to basically hire those folks and work with them efficiently online. Additionally, there's a competitive nature of VenAssure that is super beneficial to the client, where it allows us to provide those services at a competitive price point all across the board.
What's some of the feedback you've had from insurance companies or insureds, clients that are using you guys compared to what they were doing beforehand?
We have a lot of, so VenAssure is a young company. We started up in 2018 and have worked with several of our clients really to sort of fine tune the platform. The main feedback is that they really like being able to work with different companies through one platform, through one software. Okay. They like the ability to be able to go to those companies' profiles and look through the profiles and seeing the sample reports, having that, W-9 information just right there on hand. All of the things they need in order to really just kind of send out that first assignment is right there inside of the platform. So they like that a lot. They like the feedback loop. And so VenAssure has within it the ability to manage a client's business rules through automation, keeping that case going without the client necessarily having to be so hands-on and picking up the phone and calling the investigator to see where the assignment is or to get updates. And they really like that feature and that aspect of the platform.
Okay. So on the flip side, why is it beneficial for investigation companies to be part of VenAssure?
So VenAssure isn't an investigation company. We don't hire private investigators, and we never will. And so for investigation agencies that partner with us, they basically get to use VenAssure as another channel to promote their services, to advertise their company. And then on top of that is the additional marketing support that they get from us as well. So we're still out there making phone calls into potential clients and really trying to introduce them to the platform, which in turn introduces them to, those investigation agencies that are partnered with us. So there's virtually no risk in being part of the platform and keeping your information up to date on the platform. And then as we grow, the benefits are limitless.
So how has this whole pandemic affected VenAssure? I mean, you guys are a startup company. You just started in 2018. So this has to have really affected you like it has with many other companies, but especially being brand new in the industry.
Yeah, it definitely has. It's for one, we're slower. We've seen a slowdown in the number of cases that we have coming through, which I think is something that is happening all across the board. But additionally, it's been harder to reach out to people and discuss changing processes because everybody is already in sort of a more uncomfortable or unfamiliar territory with working from home or having to do everything remotely, that just introducing that next level of change is terribly difficult. So we haven't been able to really get any new clients on board here recently, but we're still doing the work. I personally believe that it's the work that we do today that's really going to set us up for once the pandemic passes and Corona really the worries or the worries about how that the virus is going to affect us as individuals in our health is really going to play with how the business progresses after everything sort of starts up and the country reopens.
So when we were originally going to do this podcast, it was going to be at the IFM. We were going to be poolside. Obviously, that got changed. And one of the questions I had for you was, what direction do you see the industry going as far as surveillance? Well, your answer then and now may have completely changed. So, I mean, where do you see the industry going?
I think that we're always going to need, physical surveillance. We're always going to need, investigators to help with insurance fraud. I think that there is a huge focus on social media investigations, and that's kind of a leading indicator for physical surveillance. So I think that piece isn't really going away. But I do think that things like, especially now, I do think that those companies that can deploy unmanned surveillance units and guarantee footage like PhotoFacts, for example, are going to really play well with, how the country is changing and the future direction of investigations.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a huge uptick in just film obtained on the cases that we are doing. Obviously, the claims are coming in slower than they were before, but everyone's at home and the stay-at-home order doesn't mean that people are just like in their house with the doors locked and the curtains drawn. I mean, they're out, they're actually doing things, maybe even more than they would be on a normal occasion. I mean, I see people running around and jogging and biking and rollerblading all day long around my neighborhood while I'm working. So we've seen a huge uptick in film. It's pretty interesting that, a pandemic happens and you actually get more film than you were getting before.
Right. Yeah, but I think there's the other side of it too, which is, I spoke a little bit about the, social media investigations, but I do think that that's also a key factor in really determining when and where to deploy, those resources, because I think right now, it's really the way to communicate with friends and family.
Yeah.
And so looking through social media profiles for people and figuring out what they're up to, I think even people that didn't used to be on social media are really starting to open up on social media, and you can find more information on claimants and, really everybody now than you could before. And I think that's going to continue. So I think that, like you say, I think that sure, there's an aspect of it where people are more active, just for sanity purposes, getting out and taking walks and doing yard work and doing all those kind of things. But then there's also the other piece of it, which is just social interaction. And I think people are finding social media platforms to be the way to really kind of communicate with friends and family, and that is a good place to start to look for, potential opportunities to get film. and to find people doing things outside or otherwise.
So being a new startup, do you have any advice for other startups, maybe not just in this industry, but just anywhere that are having issues during this crisis?
Yeah, I said it before. I think it's the work we do today and the work that we do over the next couple of weeks that's really going to put us in a good position or in a position, you know, after the country reopens. And so it's my belief that we have to continue to work hard. We have to continue to, you know, make those sales phone calls, make those introductions, you know, try to schedule appointments. Even if they're not getting scheduled, at least you're getting your name and your brand out there. And I think you can't let up on that marketing aspect, on that sales aspect of what you're doing, so long as you're providing a beneficial service, which as entrepreneurs, we all believe that we are. You know, I think that you just have to keep pushing forward because this will pass. And when it passes, it's the work that you've done today that's going to really position you for growth, you know, in the future.
So what's in the future for VenAssure? I know it's a hard question to answer right now because we don't really know when things are going to get back to semi-normal. But what's your vision for the next 2 years, let's say?
Great question. You know, I think that VenAssure has the opportunity to manage more than just investigations. It's a vendor management platform. And so really what we're looking to do is to bring on different types of vendors. You know, so for example, we are looking at partnering with a medical canvassing provider for national medical canvasses. We could potentially, obviously, we do some of the social media through our partners already, but we can bring on other types of services that are used by insurance adjusters, insureds, and insurance companies. And help them to basically consolidate the channels that they have to use to manage those services, bringing that ability to really kind of go fully unbundled all through the platform.
Well, that's exciting. When you're looking for these new services, since you're more focused on surveillance right now, are you having a tougher time vetting these other companies, or like, do you change your process at all?
You know, we're not looking now.
Okay.
I think that really, you know, we started off with investigations, one, because just like I said, through my wife, I have some familiarity with private investigations, but also it's a very difficult process to manage. There are tons of different services provided by a private investigation agency. There are tons of check-in points with just a single investigation. So lots of information being passed between client and vendor that makes it super challenging and a very good baseline for bringing on other service providers. And so I think, you know, with us focusing on investigations right now, we're fine tuning the process and the program to be able to bring on those other vendors. And then once we do, you know, we'll be able to release those in waves.
Well, Leonard, I wish you the best of luck. I mean, we're on the platform, so you and I talk all the time. So maybe we'll have you back on here and kind of do a follow-up after this whole crisis is over with, and see how things are going. And you know, wish you guys the best, and keep those kids out of trouble and keep them safe and healthy.
All right, John. Well, I appreciate the call, and I hope you guys stay safe and healthy as well. And anytime, I'm definitely up for coming back and talking about changes or anything that happens with VenAssure or with PhotoFax, and you know, love being a part of this.
All right. Well, thanks, Leonard, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.